Hey guys, I want to tell you something that a friend of mine said to me recently. She's a branding lead at a large HR tooling company in Berlin. And I asked her, hey, how's business? And she said that it's really good. HR is a crucial department and they have good business going on. And she also honestly told me that the angle I chose with my layoff consulting, which is helping employees, is not a lucrative one. Lucrative one would have been to help companies lay people off. Bummer for me. And there's another company that I follow that is doing pretty well. They help companies execute layoffs. So, how you design communication, how you make sure that people who are staying are still motivated, and how you protect the company. There is a lot of money in it right now. So, there is a lot of money in helping companies lay people off. And I sat there for a second. So, the layoff industry is booming, just not for the people being laid off and not for people like me who are trying to help people who are in this situation to make the right choice and not to feel left behind because they are not necessarily understanding all the complexity of the system that they're in. So in this video, I want to talk about how this layoff machine actually works. Because once you understand who is in that role, what they're trying to accomplish, and what's in it for you, and that your personal situation matters, the whole thing starts to make a lot more sense. And you stop taking it personally. You start making better decisions. So, point one, be very cautious with HR. And I want to be fair here. I've really had nice experiences with HR people. Some of them are kind, competent, doing their best inside a system that is tricky for the employee. And some of them really advocated for me behind closed doors and never got credit for it because most of what they do is confidential. The structure itself is that HR reports to the company. So their risk is to manage risk for the company. And when you're sitting in that meeting being laid off and the HR person seems warm and understanding and maybe even someone you've had lunch with, they are not bad people. The warmth is real, but their mandate is not yours. The company has a number of needs to hit. So HR needs a headcount reduced by X, cost saved by Y. That's what the meeting is for. They have already identified you as a person to leave, and now they need to make sure that you leave the safe way. Not for you, but for the company. So the deadline they give you, some thought that they might be selling you as a perk, the language that they use, all of this is designed to get to that number as efficiently, as cleanly as possible. And that's not cynical, it's their job. And your job is to do what's best for you, not what's best for the company. And there is a second point. Urgency that the companies create is intentional. So it happened basically to every person I talked to who went through a layoff. So you get a calendar, like there's 15 minutes, sometimes 30, there is HR and your manager, you know something's off, that's me. And within 10 minutes, there is basically an agreement being ready to be sent towards you, which is a mutual agreement. And you have very little time to decide whether you want to sign it or not, what's in it for you. So there is a deadline, there is a very tricky mutual agreement in front of you, and the deadline can be extended. But this urgency is there for you to sign it. How do I say this nicely? This deadline is not necessarily because they're super needed, but because urgency works. It shuts down your thinking in a way. When you're super nervous, you tend to be less smart than you usually are. And urgency makes you think that if you don't decide now, something worse happens, like a termination. And guess what? Termination is not the end. It doesn't go in your record. It does not affect your performance review or your reference letter. It does not. And what's true is that you have time. You're not required to sign anything on the spot or in a couple of days. You can take the document, say thank you, and go think about it. Get a second opinion, talk to a lawyer, talk to the, how do you call it? The works council. if you need it. And go on YouTube. Seriously, go on YouTube. Listen to people like me. There are a lot of us. The urgency is a feature of the process. It's built in. And knowing that this urgency is artificial helps you. So make a pause. And this is where a lot of us get emotional. Get over it. Get yourself together. Urgency is designed, and just try and keep your cool. And also, fun fact, which is not fun at all. Most people I talk to, and it was my case as well, after the announcement, like, hey, there are layoffs, and if you want to leave now, please reach out to us. We will send you the mutual agreements. After that, HR kind of goes quiet. For a week or two, you cannot reach them. So you can talk to the manager, you can talk to lawyers, but HR disappears. And it's very weird. Like, I don't know if it's a tactic or a simple staffing problem, but employees are left alone when they need the information the most. I heard this from one person that said that HR was there answering questions, but mostly they were busy signing people off with their mutual agreements. Go, go, go. So if you have questions, you're left alone. So luckily, this is where people also find me on YouTube to get a sounding board and a thinking partner on that situation. So good for me, but I do find it quite weird that HR simply signs off, doesn't answer questions, and just focusing on people who want to leave and not focusing on people who are really struggling to understand what the hell is going on. So point number 3, signing anything as an immigrant can have consequences nobody warns you about. Yeah, this is the one that I care about most when I think about people going through this, like myself back then. So in Germany, if you sign a mutual termination agreement, there are consequences. You can get blocked on your social benefits. You can get in trouble with your visa because basically if you're in the country tied to a work contract and you proactively, voluntarily exit it without a new job, you're in trouble. And sometimes companies tell you their agreement is structured to avoid all this. It's structured to show to all the authorities that no, you would have been let go anyway. And sometimes they're right, but there is no guarantee. And the company, after you sign that, this can really, you're not their problem. And they're not the ones to decide. The Arbeit decides, the Ausländerbehörde decides, the company is just doing their best. And depending on how good their lawyers are, depending on how good their HR is, those documents are going to be outlined. And then if you sign, you're just out on your own, hoping for the best. And if you are not from Germany, if you didn't grow up here, if you don't know how the system works, you're walking into that meeting or you're reading those agreements without enough information that, the other side, the HR has. And so I've seen people find this just because they're too emotionally overwhelmed and they're just happy to sign whatever that is. And also because they said, oh, screw that, I don't understand it anyway. And I want to be clear here again, your personal state and how you want to exit this is more important than the pressure you're under by your employer or by the deadline or honestly, all the interests that your employer has. You have to stand up for yourself and think for yourself. And I am not a lawyer and this is not legal advice, but then there is a thing that I learned, and which is companies sell mutual agreements while they're actually terminations. And this simply does not sit well with me because with a termination, it does not go on your record. Your reference letter is fine and you're out there. You don't risk any block. You're fine. You've been fired. So you're in a way better position than people who signed any agreements at all. So what I'm saying is make sure that the company does not affect or influence you to the point where you feel that you have to sign. To wrap this up, the layoff industry is booming, companies making serious money, helping other companies do this process as smoothly as possible. For the company, that's the business, nothing wrong with that. But you deserve to be just as prepared on your side. So I built a guide and a calculator specifically for this. Also thinking about how to make this calculator a better product. So if you have ideas after you've downloaded it, please let me know. The links are below. If you want to talk through your specific situation, I could send you my Calendly from my LinkedIn. Let me know if it was helpful. Let me know if you have any input in the comments. And more of this is coming. And subscribe if you want.